lots of opportunity to move around.
I think there's some teams here that could really set tones. I think I think Utah could. I think Chicago could. I think Philly could. I think Buffalo could, because they got players people are trying to trade for. I wonder if the Rangers try to move up. Like, that's another one I'm kind of wondering there. Darsh is a really interesting one. Darsh just got the job. I'm wondering if he's having trouble finding time to breathe right now, because there's so many rumors flying around the Islanders. You can't keep track of them all, trying to figure out which ones are real and which ones aren't. It's like there are some teams here that could really, really set the draft on its ear.
Yeah, boy. At least when, Kent Hughes picked Slafkovsky first overall his first year at the helm in Montreal, but he had a lot bigger of a runway than Matthew Darsh will have with the New York Islanders in terms of getting your ducks in a row before stepping on that stage. I guess it won't be him stepping on the stage this year, though. Making the call in from the Zoom from home base on Long Island. All right, well, with that draft conversation, that'll take us to the final thought, which is brought to you by GMC, the likely headliner of the 2026 NHL draft. Elliot, Gavin McKenna. We've discussed him a few times, certainly as his Medicine Hat Tigers moved into off-season mode, and a lot of questions about what is next for some of those top CHL players with now the opportunity to make the jump to Division I hockey in NCAA. What is the latest you are hearing on Gavin McKenna?
So we talked a couple of weeks ago about when I was asking around, and we mentioned Penn State, and that was the name we were hearing the most. I heard over the past couple of weeks he did some Zooms. He did Penn State, he did Michigan State, he did Michigan, and he did Denver. And it sounds like it's probably coming down to Penn State, who we guessed, and Michigan State. Nothing decided, but it sounds like that's where he's at. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, I have to, like I said before, it's not something I'm on top of, like the CHL and the NCAA, but it's judging from the reaction the last time we talked about it, people are really interested. They're really into this. So we'll see how it ends up.
Potentially join his Medicine Hat teammate Caden Lindstrom in Michigan State if he did that, but holy smokes, yeah, whether it's them or Penn State, who have really emerged on the scene as we talked about on the men's Division I level, boy, what a get that could be for any program with the opportunity to add Gavin McKenna into the fold. That's going to be, of that category, that'll be the biggest story this summer, is where he ends up playing in the fall.
Yeah.
A lot of eyeballs on that. All right, that was the final thought brought to you by GMC. We'll take our first break. We still have our interview with Matthew Schaefer to come, but before we get to that, the Thought Line. 32 Thoughts, the podcast, continues after this. All right, welcome back. Time once again for the Thought Line. Elliot, anything stuck in your craw before we get to today's submissions?
So before you came on as the co-host of this pod, back in, we'll call it maybe like 2 BK before Kyle, I talked about how I love the Aritzia Cafe at Yorkdale. I like to go there and have a coffee. Yeah. So we had a birthday for 2 of my nephews on Sunday. I had to go pick something up at Yorkdale, so I went for my Aritzia coffee, and I go to the house, and my brother-in-law's dad is there, and he's like, he sees my coffee cup say Aritzia, and he goes, "Really? Aritzia coffee?" And I'm like, "They make really good coffee." And he goes, "I hate coffee snobs." And I said, "Sandy, I am not a coffee snob, but I will tell you who is. And
Don't.
I said, if you don't like coffee snobs, you would not like my podcast co-host.
Oh, but I'm not a snob.
Yes, you are.
Don't pin me. I don't judge. Folks can enjoy their coffee however they want.
No, Dominic, it's not my father-in-law. It's my brother-in-law's dad. So he's not my father-in-law.
Fathers, brothers, cousins, former roommates.
Yes. Dom thinks he's big smart. He's like, Elliot, you dummy. He sends me a text. Elliot, you dummy. That's just your father-in-law. No, it's not. He's married to my wife's sister, so it's not my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
This segment is
Segment
already
brought to
off
you
the
by
rails.
Ancestry.ca.
That's right. 23andMe. We've dropped your DNA all over the internet.
Oh my gosh. So what is it about Aritzia coffee that you like so much?
I don't know.
Do you
They
have an
just- they
Americano
just
there
ma-
too?
Yeah, they just make great
Okay.
coffee.
Good.
Yeah.
I'd love to
Yeah.
try it someday.
Yeah.
Off-season adventure. All right, we begin today. Mark in Detroit. Hello, Soundmaster Shamati. Gatekeeper Griffin. Fashion icon Elliot. And ticket agent Kyle. A few weeks ago. I don't know, Mark.
I like that. That's your new nickname. You're the ticket agent.
Yeah, we need a deal. Tickets? Anyone? I'm your broker. A few weeks ago, I watched the Champions League final. Immediately after the final whistle, the CBS camera cuts to a shot of an engraver working on putting the name of the winning team on the trophy. I thought it was pretty cool that it happened so quickly and wondered what it would take to get the NHL to do something similar. Couldn't the two finalists submit their lists of names ahead of time before the series starts? I can't imagine it would be very different from what they would submit after it's all said and done anyways. And there are two cups. Why not bring out the show one for the presentation and have an engraver already working on adding the team name to the original? That way the players could already point to their names when they get their traditional day with the cup over the summer. And if they work fast enough, it might even be done in time to go into the locker room celebration. Then trade off the show one with the original to engrave that one as well. It seems like it would be well received by all the winners, so I'm counting on the 32 Thoughts crew and their immense pull with the league. We all know Gary is an avid listener to make it happen. Don't let me down.
That's not a bad idea.
It's not. I just think in practice, because of that trophy.
52 is a lot. 50,
Yes.
It's 52 names, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So, and they have been for years going to the same silversmith in Old Montreal. So that's where they go get the trophy done. And I guess as of this recording, they're in the final steps of getting confirmation from the Florida Panthers that